Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday. Good morning. Yes, so I am doing a little bit of, well, quite a bit actually, more than I've done in many, many years of strength stuff. That, what you saw a little bit of this morning, wasn't really the strength stuff, so I am going to a gym when I can to do heavy stuff, but when I'm home and it's a bit like that, actually almost every day at the moment, explosive stuff. I think the way kind of Dan really describes it is to build some strength, to build power. But you can't build power without strength, and strength comes from the heavy lifting stuff. I'll get into that probably in a different vlog. I don't want to get too bogged down in it today because we've got some other things going on. Yeah, just dropping the van in for its service. So when we bought, I'll ask you guys a question, right? When we bought this van, it was 2012, but it had only done 16,000 Ks, believe it or not. 1 year later, 1 year and 1 month later, put a comment below how many Ks you think the van has now done. What does a domestic bike racing team's van do in 1 year? Put a comment below, all right? For the record, I stand by my point. It's peak hour, right? Pretty much empty. Fun fact, I did a geography project on that stormwater drain for year 6 when I was at primary school. And I discovered during that actual assignment that the entire this side of the peninsula all drains out back. So if you're ever in Sydney and it looks like you should probably go for a swim out there, don't go for a swim out there. Don't do that. Right, so yeah, this isn't going to go the way I thought it was going to go. Yeah, when the guys, I think Shift Media or something in the UK, got in contact with me and they said they wanted to send this book out for me to review. I kind of thought, cool, recipe book, well, we'll do the recipes for a week or something like that, and that will be like a really interesting review. So it turns out like there is way more to this book than like a couple of recipes. So scrap that. Plus, we don't really do recipes in this family. Like, we just sort of cook what's in the cupboard and that's dinner. So yeah, I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is ask you guys, what do you want to know? I haven't even told you what it is. It's the plant-based Cyclist. It's a complete guide to plant-powered cycling by Nigel Mitchell. I'm sure you've seen this. But clearly there's a lot more in this book than just a couple of meals. As I open up, it's chapter 4 about micronutrients and supplements. Yeah, get some questions below about what you would like to see answered on and about this book. Kind of just coming back personally, yeah, we are still very much vegan. We are still living the vegan dream as such. There's probably like 3 takeaways, I reckon, so far that we've kind of had. We're about a year in now, guys. A bit less than a year. The first is just how much we love food. I know that sounds particularly lame, but like it's true. Like even on the Elizabeth's birthday night, right? We're just creating flavors that we hadn't really had before, and a lot of it's just because you're not trying to marry it up with meat products a lot of the time. So there's that. The second one is probably personally my over-reliance on wheat-based products. I certainly found this during Sun Tour, and looking back at it was probably something that I can address. And I'll be interested what this book might give me ideas about. Because like, for example, like it might have been sort of, 5 Weet-Bix for breakfast, and then, after the stage, like peanut butter sandwichy type sandwich stuff. and then in the evening it could have been a pasta. So, you know, you're almost looking at your 3 meals all being some sort of wheat-based product. To kind of look at alternatives like that, maybe some starchy vegetables and things like that I might start incorporating. And I did probably come away from that race a bit more bloated than I would have liked to have felt. So maybe the wheat thing could have been something in that. The third thing is just how uninteresting the gains and losses are lifestyle and performance-wise. I was expecting these big ups and downs and like, oh, I haven't got enough protein today, I didn't take it. No, not really at all. I know that's probably like not clickbaity enough to say, but it's dead true. It's so achievable to live with no animal products, and it has such little to no impact on you as a human. It's quite boring, and just I'm not killing animals doing it. Sorry, I have to say it.
ISO Wendy's, where y'all from?
ISO Wendy's.
Yay, bikes. This is the Rafa Pro Team training jersey, by the way. Again, Neuro colours. Not EF. Anyway, yeah, look, I've been harassed a little bit, in a nice way, lately to do some more training stuff on the channel. And I will like do some kind of more official structured stuff. But there was kind of one thing Dan and I were talking about yesterday that I reckon you guys might be interested in, and it's... Oh, actually, let's go to Centennial Park, talk about it. Anyway, I'll show you what I mean, alright? Training tips from Chris Miller. What are you thinking? Trust me, actual good cyclists do this. So, trying to ride your bike in different positions. I know that kind of sounds lame, but just bear with me, okay? So, I'm going in here to do some 30-second efforts. And in a perfect world, for me to, what I want to do is just ride like the first 15 seconds out of the saddle, because that's where I'll get my best explosive power. And then I'll jump back in the saddle and I'll grind out the rest of the 15. And you know, the world will be fine. But what's actually valuable is doing these 30-second efforts in all different ways. So starting them in the drops, starting them on the hoods, doing all 30 seconds in the saddle, doing all 30 seconds out of the saddle, sprinting for all 30 seconds. Just generally trying to be in lots of different positions all over the bike in that same effort, and taking that to the next level. It's that favourite climb that you do. Try and do all of it out of the saddle. Try and do all of it in the saddle. Try and do all of it in the drops. Really moving your body around the bike and just generally trying to build some strength and endurance in different positions. Because I think one of the traps we all sort of fall into is just that thing of, well, I know this is the way I do it best, so I'm always going to do it that way. Like for me, perfect example, right? The reason I'm more competitive at something like Westhead is because out of the saddle, I've got more power. That's just the reality. And I can resort to that going up some of those hills. Whereas at Heffron Park, where I'm irrelevant, I can't do that. So what I have to do is work on those short efforts, but then being in the saddle and being able to produce the same amount of power doing them. Well, 15 30-second on, 30 seconds offs, probably about 3 sets of them. Yeah, and not to a number, just basically 30 seconds as hard as I can go, really. That's really all it is.
Bodegas on the corner, let me see what's in store. Subway stations with the maps in the cars. Summer cook.
So there is a rough guideline with these that your normalized power over the interval should be about your threshold. But it's pretty because a lot of that depends on what you do in the rest period. Like I find if I absolutely blast myself and then like do 15 seconds not pedaling, it actually means you end up getting a higher normalized power than spitting your legs out at a sort of low wattage. So this will only be a short session, less than 2 hours, but I'll still take a couple of gels Not necessarily for this session's effort, more that I want to ride tomorrow. And if I deplete myself too much, I'll just feel like gunk tomorrow, especially doing this sort of high intensity stuff. So probably just one gel, to be honest, gels and water. It's not particularly hot. But yeah, guys, if you want to see some more training stuff, let me know, of course. Really quite happy to share what I'm doing. Not that many of you probably want to know what I'm doing, but if you are, more than happy to tell you. Follow me on Strava as well. Follow Jesse on Strava, he's pretty good. But like, guys, I will say this, like one question that he gets a lot is like, what's a good session for this? There's no good session for that. You know what I mean? It's everything's a plan. There's no like, oh, I'm doing 3 peaks, so there's this one session for training for it. You know what I mean? Hate to break that to you. Hate to break the fact that riding your bike lots makes you go faster. It's just a sad reality. But at least riding your bike's fun.
BK all day, BK all day, we go hard. We go hard. Yeah. Let peace stress free, let it be. God.
So yeah, I'm not sure if I was meant to give that away, but there you go, just under 40,000. Holy hell, we have packed in the Ks this year, ladies and gentlemen. I should also add, right, that, that, you know, we are obviously involved with Mercedes-Benz Sydney 2 years ago now, Neuro KOM, and this van was sort of purchased completely separately to that. They just happened to have a van lying around. It was a really good deal. But, little plug, that's the best service experience I think I've ever had. They are seriously nice. That was Sophie Cook. Sophie, absolutely superb. Thanks, guys. Right, pick up this. I found, like, before we did the vegan thing, or even just generally nutrition-wise, it was quite frustrating because people would give you sort of broad outlines as to, you know, oh, you should have so much of this or so much of that, but you never really got the specifics of what a day looked like or anything like that. So I thought, actually, Liz, would you mind, what was your day today, eating-wise? What was your food diary today?
Okay, I worked out a weights-based workout this morning, and I walked home from work. A muesli with some soy, a mix of soy and almond milk for breakfast with some black tea. I had an almond flat white, a small one at one point. I had an apple. My lunch was a wrap with some veggies and some of last night's quinoa lentil mix in it.
That's where that went.
Yeah, oh sorry about that, I took that to work. 2 Weet-Bix with some more almond milk and a banana. See, it's not good with variety. Before I walked home from work, small baked sweet potato, 3 pieces of broccoli, one of these corn, or is it corn? This one? Yeah, corn patty, which I don't normally eat. I normally like try to avoid those, but sometimes I get a bit confused as to how much protein I should be having, or so I kind of freak out every so often and buy them like I did today. See, I was panic buying, not toilet paper, corn. That's what I panic bought, corn patties today and a mushroom, and I had some sauerkraut with that.
That is actually a really good point. Dips, condiments, so like we use all kinds of condimenty, dippy, like we use a lot of these different things too, and I would recommend the beetroot one. Yeah, I might run some beetroot one on that. I do eat a good bit of chili with things like that. Yeah, because sometimes vegetables and beans can be a bit bland, and you can actually have almost the same meal sometimes, and it can taste completely different with just different seasoned condiments.
Look, I'm really looking forward to reading this book because his first section, I've only gotten, but the first section's about protein, and that's the bit that I struggle with. Personally, I struggle with iron intake and protein, and I've always struggled with iron. I had iron deficiencies through both pregnancies. I had to have an iron transfusion with one of them. I'm really keen to see, I don't feel bad, like I feel good. I don't think I have any problems, but you know, it's hard to know. Like, I don't get tested. I'm not a professional athlete. I have no idea what my deficiencies are. You know, I know B12 is something that we should be looking for. Iron is something we should be looking for. But it seems to go through. The thing about this cookbook is it's not just about recipes, it's about nutrition, and it's which I think will be useful.
That's what really interests me.
So I'm very keen to get into it. Because I'm a bit of a battler. Like, I'm not
Yeah, we both are.
I'm not a nutritionist. I just eat what I like. You know, I think part of my problem is I don't want to overeat, because I don't want to eat the wrong things and not provide the right nutrition for what my body needs. Like beer. Beer isn't vegan. I thought beer is vegan. No, apparently some of the things they put in it to like caramelize. Babies!
Babies are home. Mama's happy. Dada's happy. We'll see you later in the week, guys. Don't forget questions about the book, what you'd like to hear our feedback on it. And I do say our because Elizabeth's going to be a really, really important part of this review. And that's why I put her on camera for this bit, because she now knows she's a really important part of this review. I'm going to be in Wagga this weekend. So come and say hello if you are there. So I'll see you in Wagga. Any thoughts, Elizabeth?
Yeah, when we do this again, can we do it on an evening where I have like makeup on, my hair done?
I can fix it all in post. No one recognises me in real life because they're like, oh, ooh. Yeah, anyway. Alright, see you later, guys. What you got there?
Yeah, fine, okay, it's ice cream. Coconut, vegan ice cream, but still delicious.